Hello everyone, and welcome back to another fighter breakdown. This is the KRC quarterfinals or the Kingdom Rapier Championship quarterfinals between Lord Gage and Lordship Heigo. There's quite a few passes, so I'm going to try to go through this one a little bit, quite a few passes. There was quite a bit of back and forth between these two because they know each other very well, and so they're fighting both left-handed, and it means that they know what the other person does, and they're not giving the other person any advantages, and it makes it a lot more difficult in fight. So with all that, let's go ahead and get into it. Already right off to it, they're pretty intense. Lots of evaluation and calculating going on here. Testing the water to see what the other person's going to do. Nothing ever very serious or committed yet. They're both very close in range.
Good hand.
Okay. Take a quick look at that one real quick. Okay. Alright, so Gage takes his sword and just lays it right across the top of the hand there. Looks like he gets just enough of a tap in there. Right in here. Just enough of a tap before it slides up the arm. That Heigo called it a good shot. Very quick, very subtle, but he's trying to take the advantages that he can.
Good hand.
So they swapped dagger out of his left hand, so he put his right hand, and he just has single sword now. Points normally win fights, but that also can make you cocky too. Neither of these guys are slouches with their single sword. Very fun fudge. There it is.
Nice.
All right, I really like that one. So let's take a quick look back over this. Look at the setup and how it was all done. So Heigo got that fight. So you can see he stabbed him right in the chest. Okay. So it's only the last few seconds here. Watch it one more time, kind of going through here. Okay. So right now, the two of them, they're standing pretty close together in range. And that means that it doesn't take a whole lot to get to that, get to the other person to stab them, but the other person also reacts really fast. So we see Heigo take a nice short lunge here, watching his foot. So he goes from here, back of his foot, sets up that. And so, but he's doing something interesting here. He is keeping his body kind of back. So he's not doing a full committed lunge there. And that's, at this closeness, that's really good, because he doesn't need to do a full long lunge. But as you can tell, we got nice block there. So the sword is bending because it's being blocked by the dagger. And that means he's moving Okay, and he got the block. So Heigo is now in the close range, which means that Gage really does have quite the advantage with that sword being free. But Heigo is also able to get his sword free there. So then he starts moving it forward. Oh, and that's what the advantage of that was. So Heigo kept his body out of here. So now Gage, because he had to go backwards a little bit in order to dodge that first attack coming towards his face, now that tip is just barely out of range. Very close. So we see it come in. Now, if Heigo still had his dagger, he'd be coming down this way. Watch his hand. I think he's going to be coming down that direction still, which is good because you should do the same thing that you do with your hand with your dagger, not what your dagger with your hand. So, and we keep going. Yep, he did. He did bring it down. But obviously he didn't have a dagger there, so Gage is pulling back his blade in order to get control of this one as well. That's interesting. I think he's bound. Wow. Look at that. Dagger is bound on his wrist. Huh. So that right there is why short daggers are nice in period. His dagger is currently bound on his own wrist, but he's trying to pull it up in this direction anyway to block the sword. So we keep going, and that's where Heigo gets his strike. And Gage is just on the outside of the arm. And then on the repost. Very good. Very good bout right there. Okay, picking right back up. They're coming together, playing around a little bit. Always going back and forth, testing that water, trying to find that right angle. Yep, just right past the side there. You can see it. Okay, yep, there we go. So Gage attacks that hand, trying to get that dagger. Gets the block. Heigo gets the block on the side. And then we see Heigo lunge. And gets the block right there. Gage gets the block. And then the sword glances just right off the side there. So we know that he is good. Oh man. That would be that's frustrating for Gage right there. He could have had a very good shot, but it ends up right on top of his arm and flat. So not even a cut. But if his tip control was just a little bit better here, I mean, obviously he was kind of worried about the sword coming into his head and belly area. But if that was just a little bit more that direction, that could have changed the outcome of that match. So that was a good part on Gage. Almost. And so we move forward just on the side. Heigo gets a block off and Gage takes a step out, so he's out of the way. He's got to retreat so he doesn't get stabbed. That's pretty good. Now something interesting. Whoa. Positive, right? A good spot. Backing up just a second. Okay. So something you see Gage doing quite a bit right here is he's going in and out of range. Out of that, he's coming out right here. He's out of balance. His foot is up, but he's out of range. And then he goes back into range. He comes in and out a couple times. And that's so he can gauge where he's at and he can stay out of the danger zone longer, but come in when he's ready and see those opportunities. He doesn't want to... Too little movement gives your opponent time. Too much movement gives your opponent time. So you got to be balanced with that for sure. Okay, so you take a lunge, and it's just right on. Oh, that is a beautiful lunge. Let's look at that real quick. Okay, so Gage came into position. You can see that here. He's got a good foot base, not too wide of a stand either, and a good base there. Heigo has a good defense, so let's watch him see what happens with those feet. Okay, so Gage takes his lunge. He gets the block up there on this sword with his dagger, and then he keeps continuing through. Oh, yeah. And he just comes in on the inside of Heigo's dagger. And so Heigo misses the block. That beautiful little sweet spot right there. Comes in and tags Heigo right on the chest for a very nice long lunge from Gage. Beautifully done. Heigo eventually gets his body out of the way, but just too late. So that brings our match up to 1-1, balanced. All right, so here's pass number 2 that we're going to be watching here. Let's see how this one goes. You ever seen two people very equally matched arm wrestle? Seems like nothing happens for a long time, and all of a sudden someone gives out and the other one wins. I feel like this was what happens with this during this fight. But we're going to have some action here real soon. See them doing the setup, talking with blades. There we go. Alright, so it looks like we had both of them got down, so that means we had a double. Let's take a quick look back at this. See what happened. So he's had a lot of swishy kind of talking back and forth with the blades. It's very common to do when you're just trying to test the ground and see if the other person's going to react to something. Okay. So let's see, right here, then a little bit of movement. Okay. Now this is where it gets interesting. Let's see. Okay. Yes. So this is interesting right here. So looking at Heigo, he's got a good position right here with his hands. They're both in it. He's cocked and ready to go. You can see his leg is Gage over there. His leg is ready to go. And then Heigo is also well balanced, centered. That's what you want to be whenever something is going to happen. And so Heigo's setting up. You can see the way his hand is. His arm is going straight down, and then his sword is going straight out. So what he's actually doing there is he's presenting his hand right here as a target for a left-handed fighter, which both of these are. So that sword is going to want to come in and go right to that point. So we watch that go and try to hit that spot, but all it takes is a small movement up and the sword is caught. You can see that right on the guard. It's caught perfectly. So it does a really good job, and that baits it in. So he now has, so Heigo now has control of that blade, and he's going to then take the attack now that he's got that opportunity. You can see movement as Heigo comes in, but Gage is also prepared. He gets the block with the dagger there. So they keep, but Heigo's committed. He took a lunge in, half lunge. Okay, that was interesting. Watching his feet. So moves from here, takes that step in to here. Back foot still in the same spot, so that's a normal lunge. Well, I guess that's more of an advanced little lunge because he's not leaning. And then Okay, I see. He does a step advanced. So you kind of step into it. That's what you do to take your first step. And then you fall with your back foot, and then you do another step as an advanced, kind of a advanced or an advanced lunge is what you can do there. It looks like he just did the advance a couple times. But what that ended up doing is bringing him into range, because Gage now has his sword point into, it looks like, the right side of Heigo, the chest area. And his blade, Heigo's blade, is off on the side here. So we keep moving forward. Looks like that blade makes contact. Oops. Over back in that area. Kind of hard to see. And then we also get another one right there. So they're both stabbing each other. It's hard to tell what's going on Heigo's side because it's covered, but let's see from the rest of this that Heigo takes that as a kill, and they double in this, which is a good call, I think. So right now that makes them Heigo 1 and 0 for Gage. Okay, now this one I'm going to probably fast forward a little bit through some of this. This is a very long segment of their fight. This is where they're both being more cautious because they know the next victory point, the next win, moves them on to the semifinals. And so they're in that point where their arms are just getting, well, they're arm wrestling, they're getting exhausted, and they have to, one person has to endure just a little bit longer than the other. So right now Gage is putting his guard down a lot more instead of keeping it up. That's changing the way the fight is being done, because Heigo's being very consistent with keeping his guard up. And Heigo's fighting kind of in a, it's not quite repose, it's absence of blade. And what that does is it changes how he can attack the angles that Heigo is giving him. And Heigo's doing a good job of staying on target there, because anytime his guard is up, he's able to attack and able to defend. So anytime you're playing absence of blade, that gives you plus and minuses, and the minus could be that you have to bring your sword up to defend yourself. So we see a bunch of this going through. Some close calls, but nothing quite. No, this was an interesting little banter here.
Good call, good call.
Oh, it wasn't the banter. That was just, no, this is the banter. Something interesting, because they know each other really well. Obviously they joke around with each other, but coaching in the middle of something is a lot to do with sword fighting is your mind game, what you're doing in your head. And if you get into the other person's head, you can really mess them up quite a bit. And I don't know if that was what Heigo was intentionally doing at that point, but that's exactly why Gage reacted the way he did. It's like, are you teaching me right now? No, none of that, because this is a fight. This is not a teaching time. Teaching's for after a tournament fight, for sure. But lots of going back and forth here. No, I think they keep trying the same shot, and it's just not working. Heigo is going for Gage's leg, trying to get that leg, because he's going in for the lunge, and it's kind of a lunge. It's in his intent, but it looks like to me, when he's going in, let's see if the next one is the same, that he's going in and dropping down, so he blocks the sword, and he also hits the leg on the way out. And Gage really wants to get that hand. I know if he gets that hand, it gives him an advantage because more points wins fights. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's always a good opportunity. If you see an opportunity to take a hand, it's a good move in most cases. There we see that leg shot again. Okay. So Heigo comes in, does his lunge, blocking down with that dagger across here. So he's definitely clearing the way for him to move in. And he's trying to go for that leg, but he's just not getting that angle in there quite. He's having to block and defend himself, but also he just missed that leg. But he keeps going for it. Alright, let's move through. Okay. Again, try to get the leg, but no direct pressure on that. Ooh, okay, that was a good one. Let's look at that one real quick. Okay, so this was a close call on both sides. Okay, so we see here, let's see, get into it a little bit. They're both set up. They both have good feet position. They both have good blade positioning. Neither has the line yet. They start moving in. Gage pushes the blade down in a beat. And that's what you call when you take the blade and hit the other person's blade. It's just to beat it. Just beat it. Oh, and this is interesting. I never see Heigo do that. Okay. So he takes both arms and he drops them. Like, what the heck? That's like a come at me bro kind of stance there. And so he opens up and then Gage is like, that's perfect. So he takes the shot, sets up by taking the step in first. So he brings that back foot in, which brings in his range a little bit closer. And then he does a full good lunge. But obviously, Heigo knows that's coming, so he starts bringing up that dagger and gets it just barely when that blade is bending quite a bit around there. Or else that would have landed very well. And so, but Heigo was trying to bait that in so he could get his sword in right after he had that block. Oh my goodness. If you watch that right in there, frame by frame. The blade is bending, and out. It doesn't actually connect. It might have barely touched his clothes, but it did not create pressure. He did not. The only bend is from Gage blocking that. So that was really close on both sides. Ooh. That's cool. So it could have made that a little bit different. Is Gage leaning a little bit more into this lunge, or either of them missing that block, and then the bout would have been over. Okay, I had to look at this one again because I think it was interesting. Heigo thinks that was a leg, and let's see why. So Heigo gets up for that lunge. They're both lunging in at the same time. Heigo crosses over here, and then we see the interaction down here on the leg. Now what you can tell is that the blade is coming in this way and is flat. You can tell it by the way the guard is. And so he comes in, and there's definitely lots of movement across that leg. But because of the way the blade is angled and the direction of it, since it's going down this way, we know that is flat, and it comes out, and they try to hit each other again. Oh, it gets caught in the scarf. Can't tell you how many times that scarves have saved my life. And it comes in, and it's caught up here still, but doesn't actually connect. Just get caught on both scarves. And then comes out. Heigo goes down, because you can do that, saying that it was a good leg. But then,
Good call.
right there, Gage says, no, that's not good at all. So, that's the way the Society for Creative Anachronism does our fighting. It's all based off of honor. And so if you don't think your shot was good, you call back. And if your opponent thinks the shot was good or not good, that's the honor-based system. So we all know. Okay, let's move forward a bit. Getting a nice long video here. Okay, I'm going back and forth, doing the same thing, trying to get those shots on the leg with Heigo, and okay, you can tell they're trying to get each other. They're very equally matched fights, or very not equally matched. That's not the right word. They know each other very well. Each can have a good or bad day. Okay. All right. Okay, we're at the end of this video, and something happens. Right there we go. Okay. You blink, missed it. There we go. Got legged. Okay, so let's look at that blink real quick. So Heigo sits up. Gage is kind of out of position here, and I think that's why he takes the shot when he does. So he drops it into an attack. And Heigo gets the block. Gage gets the block on Heigo, but then you can see it hits the leg right there. And that is not a good position for your feet to be in. Obviously, he's trying to move and get one out of the way. But that out of position probably cost him that leg right there. Hard to say exactly. He was moving the leg back out of the way and just didn't quite get it. And so he's now legged.
Leg. Nicely done.
Okay.
Oh.
So he's legged. A nice long fight. Okay, now that one's just off to the side. When you're legged like this, the best thing you can is get a limb, because the body's going to be a lot further, or you get a good block and wait for the guy to come in and attack his torso when he comes in. I like to hit the feet if I can, usually bring them down, but that's again the limbs. Oh, that was a close one. Let's look at that one. Okay. So one thing that is not so good that Gage is doing right now is he is engaging that hand a lot, which is exactly what Heigo wants him to do, is to get busy and distracted. And so he's watching that dagger blade, and then when he's doing that, that's when Heigo does this. He takes his dagger across his body and goes down to attack the blade. At the same time, he's taking that to come in here, his main sword. So, see it come down as he's taking that lunge. And obviously, well, not obviously, sorry. Gage is thinking that's going to come in, so he's going to take his dagger up in this direction to block. And you can see that happening right there. And that is close. Holy cow. That is very close right in there. You can see almost touching his shoulder. Ends up just past. And then can't see what's going on in there. Oh. Oh, so close. Oh, Gage. A little bit of that point control right there. Oh, I mean, obviously you're falling backwards. You're on your ground. He's doing really well, but just a little bit different angle, and that blade would have been in Heigo's face or chest, and so that was really good to see. Very close for both sides. Whew. I wonder if Gage realizes how close he was there. He probably was thinking, don't die, don't die, don't die. That's usually what I'm thinking in those moments, but... Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you can totally see what Heigo is doing with his hand there. He's putting it out there as fishy, fishy, come and get this bait, fishy, fishy. And he's definitely making it so he doesn't get that. Okay. There it is. Okay. Quickly finish this fight. So, alright. So just little taps up here. Just little taps. And giving Heigo the time and the preparation he needs while his focus, Gage's focus is on that hand. There it is, you can see. The dagger comes down, goes from here all the way down like that, and falls all the way down to the ground. The sword comes. Oh, that's good. Okay. So the sword goes in a feigned direction this and then drops down to go in. So what his plan is to get this dagger to move up to block it. So we see drops that down, which makes it free to strike, as it does right there. Okay. Well, that wraps up that fight. So 2 out of 3, Heigo wins. Does a great job. Gage also did a great job. Kept each other guessing for quite a while. As always, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe for more content. And leave a comment if you have any thoughts or how this fight went. And things that I could look at better for future videos. Thank you.